Are you serious?
So what is it?
What the heck?
What is it?
Looks like a baseball card.
What does it say on the back?
Hey, look, it's me.
Hi, Steve. What's it say on the back? Read it.
That's so cool. Alright. Steve has had a lot on his plate. With his health issues, he's been striking out a lot.
Baseball pens.
He was not sure how he was going to wind up. His wife Heather thinks he's a great catch, so she's decided to go to bat for him. Now Steve will be a rookie recipient at Vanderbilt Trent.
I found out today. I'm at work. And I'm a mess. And you could be getting a kidney by the end of this month.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. So I did it on Monday before I even knew. And it takes 3 to 5 days. So we're back.
You're saving my life.
Yeah, we're back.
Wow.
And you're on. That video gets me every time.
Amazing stuff. Welcome to the show with no name.
I'm Theonie Roussianos, and you're Adair Palmer, and that's a child coughing in the background. So today on the show with no name, so today is Donor Day. It's not something that is observed in Australia. There is International Donation Day and that kind of thing, which is later in the year. It is something that's observed in North America, however, and I thought that, well, we thought that it was still something worth sharing. It's still an important message to share, because there's never a wrong time to start thinking about donation if it's something that you're interested in. Hi, Roz. Thanks for joining us. And you're right, there's so much to be done.
How are you going?
And yeah, it's touching. That video, I saw that every time that video pops up, it pops up every now and then. It kind of just gets me in the feels, because it is a little too close to home for me personally. Tried to get Gerry to jump on the show this morning, but he had somewhere he had to be this morning and couldn't join us. So I'm happy to talk about him behind his back.
So what's relevant. So well, before we get into that, I would just like to just share the show with no name for new viewers has been dreamed up by myself and Theonie because we want to share stories and connect people who are working for a cause, who are passionate about a cause, not-for-profits, charities, service clubs and community fundraisers, because we have a burning desire to raise awareness for about things that are important to you and in your life and in your community. And this is Theonie's the driving force behind this, and particularly days like today with Donor Day, because of the story that she's been through because of her story with her and Gerry. So it's
with
a nice,
her Gerry.
her Gerry, her and
Well,
Gerry. Doesn't
yeah.
just affect one person, does it? It affects the whole family.
It does. It does. And today being Valentine's Day, I thought was a great day to share it as well because, you know, I mean, we don't really do anything for Valentine's Day. To me, it's not just a Hallmark holiday if you kind of look into the history of what Valentine's Day is all about, but it is what it's become. And so we don't really do much to observe it, which is why I'm having dinner with you tonight. So
I'm having, if it's any consolation, well, it's not consolation. I'm having lunch with my husband and with my wife. So I'm covering all my bases, right?
Yeah, that's right. You're keeping everybody happy. Now, if you're commenting as mytimetv.live, good morning to you. Hello. Sign off as your name. I know if you're on your phone, it will decide which page or whether you're commenting as your profile, but sign off with your name so we know who's watching us, who's joining us, so we can say hello.
We do have several presenters or many presenters now on mytimetv.live, so it could be any one of a number of people. So welcome. And Amy, hello to you as well.
And
You're
to
here.
Ross,
Alfredo,
thanks for joining us.
Jump in. Peter's here. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
So, yeah, that video, if you missed the video that we started with the intro to the show, go back and watch it later. It gets me I was going to share a different video this morning. I couldn't find it. But this one, I guess, it worked out the way it was meant to, because this one does actually get me every single time I watch. Now, there is another video that I saw a few days ago. I had seen it a few months ago, but it popped up again a few days ago of a hospital in the US. Every time a patient who is a donor, whenever a donor passes and they have a donor for organs, because, you know, they're all sorts of organs and things that you can donate, the hospital staff, whoever is available, obviously if they're off on an emergency, they can't be part of it, but whoever is available goes to that floor and they do a guard of honour down the corridors, just as a sign of respect. And
I saw that video.
That one makes me cry every time.
Well. Yeah.
And which just shows the importance of donation. Now, Gerry, in 2 weeks, it's Rare Disease Day, so we are interviewing Gerry and we'll get his story along with Jeff Schmidt from the US, who is the father of somebody who has the same illness my husband has, who now he does amazing stuff for the community of families who are dealing with AHUS as well. So that's another story for another day, and specifically the 28th of February. But it is a reality. So we are told that so Leanne saying me too. So I'm guessing that, the video. No, I think Leanne's saying that video got her as well. She's seen the video, yeah. So please invite your friends to watch and share this broadcast. Help spread the word about Donor Day, and more importantly, what's behind Donor Day. So it's not just about organ donation. While, you know, we saw in that video there, kidney donors can be live donors. They don't have to be somebody who has passed. A normal healthy person has 2 kidneys. You don't need both to live a healthy life. So you can have a live donor, but I know we spoke to someone to try and get them to come on the show, but sometimes, you know, people who work normal jobs or who, you know, turns out that she's actually ill and she couldn't jump on today. But we've got friends who are lung transplant recipients, and different organs, and it's a lot closer to home than you think. Like, you walk around in the community and, you know, so Nicole, who we were going to chat with, her son is an organ donor from when he was a little boy. He wouldn't have survived without that organ donation. So the one side, pardon?
Lindy, the original Zipper Kid.
And yes, and Lindy Jane, the original Zipper Kid. Well, she had, I don't know that she'd had a transplant. She's had open heart surgery. I don't think that she'd had a transplant.
Okay, so I thought, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Medical stuff escapes me. I'm leaving that in your realm because you need to be on top of that. What's happening?
Well, only as much as you need to, because you can't know everything, and you don't need to know everything, and you shouldn't know everything, because that freaks you out and stresses you out even more. You only need to know what you need to know when you need to know it.
Fair enough.
And so, you know, organ donation and blood donation is the other thing, which is a main thing that we have experience with now. We've been told, textbook case, Gerry will need a kidney in 30 years' time. That's textbook case. You know, he could go quicker than that. He may end up never needing one, but if his illness progresses the way, you know, they expect, and so in 30 years' time, he will need a kidney transplant. Now, in 30 years' time, we could be growing our own kidneys. Who knows what's going to be happening by the time he needs it. But so organ donation now and today, you know, they're looking at 3D printing. They're doing all sorts of things that I'm not completely 100% across, because I don't need to be right now. But it is important to consider, you know, not everybody can donate for various health reasons. Not everybody wants to donate. There could be, you know, religious beliefs or whatever, and that's okay. It's definitely something everyone should think about, though. And, you know, it's whenever you watch those videos like the one we shared earlier, it's usually a story of, okay, that one there, it was his wife found out that she was a perfect match for her kidney. He needed a kidney, so that was fine. A lot of the stories you hear, though, it is the classic, somebody has had to pass for somebody else to live on. And you see other stories. I mean, this is one of my favorite things to search when I need to feel something in the heart, you know, when you're having a real shitty day and you just need to, this is one of the things I do love to watch out for. There's another video of a father who ran across the country in the US. Did he ride his bike? I think. But he ran across the other side of the country, made his way to the other side of the country, found the recipient of his son's heart, and met the recipient of his son's heart, and so heard his son's heart beating again through the donor recipient's chest. And that kind of stuff's really touching. It is another way for that person to live on, in a sense. And it's how these people have viewed it. I guess I don't know how I'd feel about it at the time until you're there. But, yeah, organ donation is definitely something worth thinking about. But there are other things you can do which are a little less invasive. And I'm guilty of not having done this in a very long time. And it is something that I am going to do again, and very soon, and that's blood donation.
I think blood donation is a great thing, because everybody that wants to can, unless you've got some sort of medical reason why you can't. Yeah. And I don't know if you've got the stats, or someone said not long ago about the amount of blood that we need each week. There's some statistics around how long the blood actually lasts for, and the amount of blood that
I remember it's 42 days, because it's the meaning of life. And there was that whole campaign that went around. Yeah. So it's 42.
I love it. So the blood lasts for, the donated blood lasts for 42 days. And yeah, see that Roz has seen the video of the Honour Walk as well. Some medications.
Yeah, there are always going to be people who can't, but for those who can, those people who can't donate are likely to also require a transfusion or something down the track, depending on what their medical issue is. Yeah. Those who donate might also need one, because, you know, sometimes you might have to go in for some sort of surgery and they'll need blood for you then, or in our case, you're just that sick that you need the blood, you know, your iron's down or whatever it might be, that you just can't, well, life won't go on without it. It's as simple as that.
Well, blood transfusions kept my dad alive for probably 2 years longer than what it would have normally, because he was hemorrhaging and there was a whole heap of stuff that happened. But he would joke about it. He would go, well, I'm due for a grease and oil change. I'm going to go for an oil top up and have his transfusion, and it would be, then he would be okay for a while, and then he would have to go back and have another transfusion. But he always saw the humorous side of things and said, I'm going to go in and have an oil top up, which was, having a blood transfusion, which was, I love the way he had that outlook on it, so some people could see it as like, oh, I'm devastated, but he actually chose to see the brighter side of it. So it is, when we had a couple of years longer with Dad than what we would have had that not been available to us. So, and it really does. It makes all the difference. So
it does. And truth of the matter is that Gerry wouldn't be here today without blood donors. He wouldn't be here today without a whole host of things. But blood donors, even with everything else that they did do for him, without blood donors, Gerry wouldn't be here today. I've lost count how many blood transfusions he's had over the years. But more recently, a year and a half ago, when he had his last seizure, he also had a sepsis. And that required all sorts of things. He needed to have blood donor. It wasn't just blood donation. There's all sorts of things they can get from your blood. He needed plasma and platelets as well. Mm-hmm. And so without any of that, these people cannot survive. They do not survive. So just something as, it doesn't take that long, and you just contact your local Red Cross blood service and find out, you can Google them, jump online, go on their website and find out where your closest donation centre is. Some places you have to make an appointment to go in for. You used to be able to just drop in, but now I'm pretty sure at most places you have to book an appointment. But yeah, it's just so simple to do, and you can do it with a friend. I used to go with a friend after work, and we'd sit there and sit next to each other, have a chat and whatever, get it done, have a chat. And before you knew it was over, because we were too busy talking about whatever it was we decided we were going to talk about on the day. And it's a free checkup for you too, because when you donate, they have to check, because they can't give, if your blood's not clean, so to speak, they cannot transfuse somebody with that blood.
So there might be an early detection of some issues and that type of thing as well. Yeah. So that's actually a really good point. I'm curious if you have your own stories. So if you have something that you'd like to share about how donation or blood donation or donation of heart, lung, kidney has helped anyone that you know and in your family, because we are really not even 6 degrees of separation from people that we know and whose lives it has impacted greatly. So if you'd like to share, we'd really appreciate that as well. Just drop, in the comments and Leanne's what she's saying. I think it's also important that people are registered organ donors to make sure their family is clear on what they want. Heard something the other day where families have blocked the donation even though the person was registered to be an organ donor. That's a really good point as well.
Yeah, and there are different ways to register. So South Australia, I'm pretty certain, is the only state that still registers the organ donation on a driver's license.
I'm registered, but I don't know if anyone would want my bits. I think I've abused them too much over the years, but you never know.
No, you don't know. You don't know. And people have a fear. I've spoken to a few people, and they have a fear of donation, which does, of organ donation, which does make me wonder what it's when you're no longer here. This is my way of thinking, and you're not wrong for thinking. Anyone who thinks otherwise is not wrong for thinking the way they think. We all think the way that we feel. My personal view, though, is when I'm gone, in the physical sense, when I'm no longer here, those organs are of no use to me. They don't need to be buried with me, or if you're going to be cremated, they don't need to be with you. They're of no use to you, whatever your beliefs are, with soul and whatever. Everybody has different beliefs or no beliefs, and that's okay. My view is that when I'm gone in this physical sense, they're of no use to me anymore. I don't need them to be where I'm going to go, wherever that might be.
Exactly. And I go you know, whatever happens to me after I'm gone, I'm going to be dead. So do whatever you like. It doesn't matter.
You're not going to be here to worry about it. That's it.
It doesn't matter. But it is something that, like you said, at the moment there is a demand for this. But in the future, with technology moving like it is, there's going to be, like you said, 3D printing and the stem cell research, and there's all sorts of amazing things that are happening. So Leanne is saying it only takes can only take one organ to make a difference. Well, it will. Absolutely. It could mean the life or death of another human being. So, Joy's here. Hello, Joy. Thank you for joining us.
So yeah, and I mean, it is something that it is close to home to me, because, you know, that blood donation is something that, like I said before, it is something that Gerry has had to have various transfusions, and grateful to the people who do donate. And the reality is, down the track, he is likely to require a kidney transplant if he follows, if his illness goes, you know, textbook case, which nothing about him has been textbook lately, but down the track at some point he will need one. Now, he's not alone. He's not the only person. I mean, you know, it's one of those things, not with this illness specifically, but it's crazy how many people I have met who have either personally been recipients of an organ. I'm not even talking blood. I'm talking organ donation, organ recipients, sorry. It's crazy just in my own circle of people how many have been recipients of organ donation, or they are closely connected to somebody who has received an organ. And it's usually not a kidney. The ones that I've spoken to are, you know, the heart, lung. I've spoken to one person with respect to a heart, but lung donation has been a huge one.
And I'm thinking of somebody that I knew that in a small country town, whose husband had a heart and lung transplant, and it gave them 20 quality years that they wouldn't have had otherwise. And
that's the thing, it's the quality. It's not just giving someone extra time to sit in a bed on bed rest. That's not what it's about. Now, Roz says, what can be used for research as well? I'm happy to have what is usable go wherever needed. You actually just reminded me of something. I was talking to a lady I used to work with, and she said to me, we were talking about donation, she said to me that she's actually donated her body to science. And so she's won't be buried, won't be cremated or whatever. It's, you know, because researchers use the body to, you know, it's how they find new things. So without people donating that kind of stuff, that might not be your thing. That might kind of freak you out a little bit. And that's okay. I think that's a different extreme to donation. But without people doing that kind of stuff and thinking about what they can't, what they are willing to donate, you know, science can't move forward.
I want to circle back to, and I just actually gave me an idea, and I'm thinking, well, if I don't care what happens to my physical body after I'm gone, they can go to science as well. Having said that, what Leanne said before about the wishes of your family, and I know that, you know, sort of thinking about a conversation I had recently with my mother about when she's gone and about her desire to be buried and not cremated. It was like, seriously, we would follow through with those wishes. And it just shows that the difference of what your beliefs are and where it's important to you. So we would say, you know, we'll definitely honor those wishes when she's gone. But if for me, it's like, well, whatever. But there is family that may say, look, I'm not comfortable with mum being, you know, her body being donated for science or bits of it. I'm sure most of my children would be fine with it because it's part of you lives on in other people. But I reckon it's really important to have that conversation with your loved ones before you go. And it's just struck home to me now that it's probably worth having it. It's like an icky sort of conversation. We don't talk about that because, you know, we don't talk about death and whatever, but it's actually not a bad thing to start having a conversation about. And Roz, because no one gets out alive, let's face it.
No, they don't. And so Roz has said, yes, so cadavers are a necessary part of training. They can't always use simulators. And Effie, happy Valentine's Day to you too, gorgeous.
Oh, darling.
Now, I'm not sure if I've frozen or you have. Now, so Ross says there's so much need in so many areas for research to be ongoing. And I mean, you look at where medical research has gone, where it's come from and where it's gone in so many years. 50 years ago, people were dying of things that we take a simple pill for today.
Yeah.
50 years isn't a long time.
Oh, and it's compounding too. The rate of research is compounding. It's not just going.
Yeah.
It's not just doubling every year. It's actually compounding. So
yeah,
amazing
and I mean, you can look at the other side where some illnesses we're getting more and more of these days. There's the cancer argument and all that kind of stuff, but that's another story for another day and a whole set of other beliefs, whether, with all the natural stuff and all that kind of stuff.
And then there is the, food as medicine, and the whole.
And it definitely is. And some mainstream doctors are still starting to talk about that now. But there's still a place for Western medicine. I don't, I like to go personally. If there's a natural way, I'd rather take that path.
Yeah.
But there's a time and place for that too.
And Effie's going, Kuklamu. What's she speaking Greek?
She is. Kukla is a doll, and it's like she's talking to me.
Is that like a little cupid doll type?
Yeah. It's like Kukla. It's like saying, "Oh, my darling."
Oh.
It's in the same context. So Leanne says, we've had that conversation with our oldest daughter when she got her license, because you never know when things can change. Never too old to discuss it. No, and you're never too young to discuss it. I mean, you are.
And I think, Leanne, you would have, in the business that you're in, you would definitely have an idea of, have no fear about what happens on the other side. It is something that, a huge percentage, probably 99% of the population would still struggle with, because, it is around, there's that whole, oh, Ned's here too. Hey, how you doing? There was like, squirrel.
Yeah, no, that's all good. So, hi, Cheryl, how are you going? So, Roz said that she hopes that they don't just go printing organs just to prolong the inevitable. And I think it's more about quality. I mean, you wouldn't want it. Yeah. You wouldn't want to have your life prolonged if you were in a vegetative state or, whatever it might be, if there was no chance of improvement. But I guess that is also another story for another day and a whole other valid argument as well. Now, Cheryl, how are you going? Thanks for joining us. So my mother-in-law donated her body to medical science. The eldest son struggled with her decision to the extreme and never really was able to move forward.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important to have that conversation. And it's donating a body, I think, for those of us who are still living and left behind, I guess we have that concept in our head that there's always that resting place that you can go and visit when you want to reconnect. I don't personally have that. Like, we still go, my mother-in-law and that kind of thing, we still go, but I don't feel I have to be there to connect with her and who she is and just, to talk to her.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting, not even argument, but discussion to have, but it's most important to have that discussion. And we're out of time. Oh, my God, that time just flies, doesn't it? When you're
I was thinking,
fun.
How are we going to fill half an hour without a guest today?
Like, you were seriously thinking that about us talking for half an hour?
Yeah, well, and keeping it relevant.
I'm not sure what you were thinking, people.
So, it's definitely a conversation worth having. And depending on which state you live in, so go to the donatelife.org website. If you're in Australia, other countries, you'd have your equivalent. And register, have the conversation. And if it's what you're going to do, register for organ donation, because it can mean the world of difference to anyone, like the video that's shared at the beginning of the show. And I just got distracted, sorry. And so I've got it registered on my license that I am an organ donor, but I have also registered with Donate Life, because in other states, South Australia is the only state that still does register on the license. And if that changes down the track and South Australia no longer do that, or if I move into state, it's not something I have to worry about. I know my wishes are registered. My family know my wishes. I have had that discussion. Some of them aren't happy with it, but it's my wishes.
And the other thing is that at the very, very least, if you can donate blood, get in touch with your local Red Cross blood donation centre and go in and take a friend, go in and make a couple of hours of it and then go and have coffee or something afterwards.
Good morning, gorgeous. So OB1, Annette, I'm pretty sure Annette's OB1 and Leanne is OB2.
Oh, those two. I love those girls.
It is. And so thank you all for joining us. We are out of time. And yeah, that half hour does really fly, doesn't it?
When you're having fun.
When you're having fun. So to see a story, if you haven't seen, I'm pretty sure this story went viral, so I'm pretty sure you've probably already seen it. But jump back, watch the replay, and watch the 3-minute video we shared at the beginning of this broadcast, because it really does hit home what organ donation can mean to the recipient and their families.
Okay. And if you're watching us on Binge Networks, hello to you. Feel free to drop a comment in below as well and let us know, because you can actually comment in the broadcast on Binge Networks as well. So we'll see you next week.
We will.
On the show
We'll
with
see
no
you next
name.
week on the show with no name. Bye for now.
Bye.